Most people think the reason they aren't moving forward is external. Not enough opportunity, bad timing, the economy, the algorithm. But for reflective, intelligent people, the real cause is often internal. They are cycling in their own thinking, not because they think too little, but because they think too well, in the wrong direction. Right now, ask yourself, with the last problem that's been bothering you, whether it's money, work, your direction, did you gain any genuinely new information in the past week? Or just rearranged what you already knew? If your conclusions feel polished instead of risky, that's not clarity, that's repetition. And repetition is the hallmark of a thinking loop. This video isn't about motivation, discipline, or productivity. It's about the psychological loop that makes smart people feel like they're in progress while nothing in their lives actually changes. To understand it, we need to talk about metacognition. It's the ability to think about your own thinking. Now, on paper, metacognition is a strength. It's linked to intelligence, self-awareness, and long-term planning. You can evaluate options, simulate outcomes, anticipate mistakes, and reflect on your own identity and direction. That ability makes reflective people sound mature and responsible. But metacognition has a failure mode. When it stays observational instead of regulatory, you can see your thinking clearly, but never intervene in it. That's why this loop is so hard to detect from the inside. Here's the problem. Your brain doesn't sharply distinguish between simulated progress and real progress. When you imagine the future or plan a strategy, your prefrontal cortex activates almost the same way it does when you actually take action. You get a sense of direction, relief, even excitement. That internal signal feels like progress, but it isn't. In psychology, this relates to the illusion of control and mental rehearsal bias. Your mind rewards having a plan, not testing a plan. If you're smart enough, you can stay inside that reward loop for months or even years. This is why capable people often live in a state of suspension. They're not lazy or irresponsible. They may work out, prepare meals, answer emails, read, create, research. By the end of the day, they feel drained, which convinces them that they worked. But nothing moved. No leverage gained, no forced decisions, no exposure to failure, no feedback from reality. Busyness often functions as emotional regulation. It protects you from uncertainty, rejection, and discovering that your ideas might be wrong. But real learning doesn't come from thought alone. It comes from prediction error. That's that gap between what you expected and what actually happened. If your day contains no action that can fail, your brain receives no new information and no update occurs. You remain exactly where you are. Smart people are especially vulnerable because they can rationalize delay at a high level. They don't say, I'm avoiding. They say, I'm refining. They don't say, I'm scared. They say, I'm being strategic. Their reasoning sounds admirable. From the outside, it even looks like patience or prudence. But underneath, the loop is simple. Thinking replaces action. Busyness replaces exposure. And preparation replaces commitment. Because the brain rewards coherence over contact, the cycle sustains itself. Here's an example. One person spends the day researching a business, planning, watching videos, refining ideas. By night, they feel drained and justified. Another person spends 1 hour doing something uncomfortable, sending a pitch, publishing a piece of content, making a decision that closes options instead of opening more. The first person feels safer. The second person feels exposed. Only one receives feedback from reality. This is why many intelligent people feel almost ready, almost clear, almost confident, almost positioned, but never forced. And without force, nothing consolidates. Psychologists call this metacognitive miscalibration. When you evaluate your own thoughts accurately, but fail to notice that thinking itself has become the goal. Internal order replaces external movement. Metacognition becomes useful only when it moves from description to control. Control means deliberately monitoring your thinking, noticing when thinking itself has become the activity, and then intervening. A daily metacognitive check looks like this. What problem did I spend the most time thinking about today? And did my thinking introduce any new information from the world, or just rearranged what I already knew? If nothing new entered, no feedback, no rejection, thinking was insulating you from the problem, not solving it. The next step is calibration. Ask, what strategy did I default to? Analyzing, planning, rehearsing, refining. And importantly, what strategy did I avoid? Smart people rarely lack intelligence. They lack contrast. Metacognitive control is about deliberately exposing a different mental gear when the current one produces familiarity instead of movement. Finally comes regulation. Impose a constraint that thinking cannot escape. One action bounded in time when preparation is not allowed. Something that can succeed or fail and teach you something. This is metacognition in action. Noticing the loop, naming it, and forcing your mind into contact with reality so it could update instead of simulate. Advice like get clearer, plan better, or align your goals often backfires for intelligent people. It increases abstraction without increasing constraint. It gives the brain more material to think with and more places to hide. What actually breaks the loop is not insight, it's constraint. A day that forces narrow, uncomfortable action, where planning is paused and the only acceptable outcome is contact with reality, produces clarity. Not motivation, but necessity. Pressure sharpens thinking, and feedback reorganizes your priorities. Action creates clarity, not the other way around. And here's the hard truth. This loop does not correct itself over time. Intelligence doesn't save you. Reflection doesn't save you. Waiting won't save you. You just get better at explaining why tomorrow will be different, and tomorrow never comes. If you recognize yourself thoughtful, capable, busy, privately frustrated, the issue isn't lack of potential. It's that your days allow too many exits, too many ways to feel productive without exposure. The solution is simple and psychologically difficult. One daily action that cannot be reframed as preparation. One action that forces feedback. One action that makes avoidance costly. If you want help doing this precisely, identifying where your thinking is looping, which strategy you default to, and installing a daily constraint that produces real feedback, I work privately with people on this problem. The link below explains how this works. If not, be honest with yourself. Your future does not need more thought. It needs more contact.